Hey guys, welcome to a news dump, and
Hey!
yeah, he's actually there this time.
The CGI has gotten so much better.
Oh, wow.
Now, real quick before we get right into the news, we know that some of you don't always watch to the very end of the episode, so we wanted to let you know that we put out a brand new episode of Idiots Watching Anime this week, and it is something. We welcomed Raina Scully onto the show, and she gave us a few episodes of a hentai called Food Wars to watch. Apparently it's ecchi.
Don't ant me.
Yeah. We discussed the finer points of sexualizing food and have a few conversations about Japanese culture in general on that episode, so please give it a watch when you can. We'll link it at the end of the video, or you can just go down in the description, or just go to the channel. Please watch the newest episode of Idiots Watching Anime.
But on to the news. We have to start off with a few updates for you, because this show has naturally evolved into us reporting on the slow, painful, shameful death of MoviePass. So let's get it out of the way right at the beginning, along with another update that's not related to movie news at all, but still entertaining.
Sure.
So after weeks of constantly changing exactly what their service provides by restricting what movies you can see, uncanceling people's accounts, comparing themselves to other industry disruptors like Uber, and a bunch of other generally head-scratching bullshit, we're finally starting to see the actual financial result of all this MoviePass drama, and as you could imagine, it's not good.
Not great. Last year, the parent company that owns MoviePass, Helios and Matheson Analytics, they posted a quarterly loss last year of $2.7 million. Sounds like a lot of money, not too uncommon for a startup that hoped to sacrifice a bit of capital in order to bring in more subscribers.
That's like 50 military parades, nothing.
This past week, though, the new numbers came to light, and according to the Hollywood Reporter, in the most recent quarter, Helios and Matheson said it posted an operating loss of $126.6 million, with the stock value of the company dipping to around a nickel as of earlier this week.
Well, you gotta spend money to make money, am I right, guys?
Remember that guy who hit us up on Twitter that was like, yeah, I said fuck it and just bought a bunch of MoviePass stock. He lost all of his money already.
Yeah, well, it's worth a shot. Sometimes you gotta bet it all on black.
Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
So this has all, of course, already resulted in at least one lawsuit from the Matheson shareholders, who claim that despite the company releasing several positive-sounding press releases that boast of the potential of MoviePass, they argue that claims made in them are materially false and or misleading because there was no reasonable basis to even imply that the MoviePass business model could lead to profitability.
Yeah.
So there you have it. When investors start suing because the company they've invested in is essentially worthless, might finally be time to call this company dead in the water.
Yep. I even had a friend who still uses it, and tried to get some things cleared up this week, and you can't get anyone on the phone.
Yeah.
And they have a texting service, and it was like, please try these 3 links. And it keeps sending you links of ways to like try to solve your problem. You can't even get a hold of anyone.
Yeah. They also just started, they're restricting the app to like 6 available titles per day.
Yeah.
It just rotates. Like your options are
Movie
getting
roulette.
slimmer and slimmer, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what is that Funhouse game that they play?
Steam Roulette.
Yeah, Steam Roulette. It's just
whatever
they had to change the name of it. Wheelhouse. Yeah, it's like that, but you pay for it, and you might waste 2 hours of your life.
Yeah.
So anyways, speaking of gigantic wastes of money though, well, I'll let Elliot talk about this.
Yeah, we got to give you a bit of an update to something that we talked about on our episode of Weekly Weird News this week, where we talked about the ridiculous military parade that was somehow still scheduled to happen 2 days after the midterm elections, even though it was going to end up costing taxpayers nearly $100 million.
Mm-hmm. That's MoviePass money,
That's
baby.
MoviePass money. So after we'd filmed and started editing the episode, the extremely predictable news broke that the Department of Defense had postponed the parade until at least 2019. Womp, womp.
Womp womp.
And it's going to be like The Wall and just never happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we're just waiting for the check to clear.
Yeah.
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 They're going to put a VR headset on Donald Trump, and they're going to be like, here's
Oh,
your
what
parade.
a beautiful parade.
Wow.
Everyone's cheering.
Look how big my penis is.
It's gigantic. My wife loves me. Anyways, with that out of the way, it's time to talk about the fact that Netflix might start adding commercials to its programming sometime in the near future. And if you're one of the unlucky ones, it's already happened. Now, this has been a rumor that's been stirring for years. It pops up every once in a while that they're going to do this, but actually it's happening now to a very esteemed select group of users.
No.
Now, if you've logged on to Netflix recently, or hell, anytime in the past year or so, you're probably well aware that the service, which once boasted your favorite television shows and movies from various studios, is now completely dominated with Netflix's own shows. gigantic pages that feature large images promoting these shows, landing pages that start auto-playing the shows or trailers of them, and suggestions for their shows regardless of whether or not you watch something related to them.
Yeah, it's a bit much. It's fine though, I guess. I mean, Netflix does produce some quality content.
Yeah.
Some not quality content.
True.
Yeah, with how much is constantly being put out there, there's always going to be a growing number of really shitty things to watch as well. But now it looks like Netflix is going to be taking their marketing efforts a few steps further by playing advertisements for their shows on their platform, and people are already pretty upset.
Yeah.
According to TechCrunch, Netflix confirmed that they are testing video promos that play in between episodes of shows a viewer is streaming. They do indicate that this is not a full rollout, at least not yet, and they're just testing the whole thing on a select portion of their subscriber base so they can go through their analytics to see how much engagement was activated by these promos. I'm actually fine with this. Like, HBO does the same shit.
True, but it would be, I have to see how they're doing it because it would be a bit much if you're watching like The Office and every episode it plays like, hey, did you know that, what is that? There's like a travel show that's like very dark or I don't even know what shows are on there anymore. It's hard to know. But yeah, it would be annoying if you were watching something like that. Like if it's a Netflix show, I could probably deal with it.
If it's like 20 seconds or less, whatever. Everyone's got to pee at some point.
Yeah, well, if you're one of the unlucky few who are being forced to sit through things like these, based on the fact that they're testing engagement, the best thing you could do is just never click on the show that they're recommending. It appears like they're really only going to be looking at data because data doesn't lie or complain. And they're already closing their ears to the dozens of posts on social media calling them out for doing this, with most people breaking it down to one simple point that's, I understand this point.
Yeah.
Usually, the people that are complaining, they're saying one of the main reasons that they got Netflix is because they don't want to sit through ads. And now, that's what they're being forced to do.
You were sitting through 8 minutes of ads per half hour before.
It's understandable, though.
30 seconds. I get your point, but it's not really that comparable.
Again, though, not a full rollout yet, so we'll have to see if this catches on or if all the backlash becomes too big for them to ignore, or if people like Elliot just lay down and take it.
I'm good. You gotta pee. Get up and pee.
I will say, now, not trying to be an ad for Netflix here, although this show is just, talking about entertainment stuff anyway, so it's all just ads. I decided to check out that new show, Disenchantment, from Matt Groening, aka the guy behind The Simpsons and Futurama, and I found it to be quite enjoyable.
Ooh, Disenchantment is quite enjoyable.
So if you do want to watch something on Netflix this weekend, maybe check that out. Very well written. I enjoyed it. I'm only 4 episodes in, but pretty damn good show. Thanks for listening to my 15-second unskippable ad.
Speaking of premium services, though, HBO has a lot of weight on its shoulders with finding a suitable replacement for Game of Thrones. And while their typical comedy and drama offerings are always pretty much great, they definitely need something in almost the same vein as Game of Thrones, which is like a property that has a dedicated hardcore fan base and a show that could also cross over into massive mainstream success. Well, on Friday, they finally announced that they had greenlit a series that could actually be what people are looking for here. After about 3 years worth of rumors circling and steps being made, HBO has made it official. Damon Lindelof's TV adaptation of Watchmen will be premiering on the channel sometime next year.
According to reports over at Deadline, the cast includes actors like Jeremy Irons, Regina King, Don Johnson, Tim Blake Nelson, and Louis Gossett Jr.
He's still alive?
Among others.
Good for him.
The series itself got the green light after an initial pilot was created based off Lindelof's script, and that, as Lindelof himself points out, the series, it will not be a direct adaptation of the comics, but will instead be an original story that remixes them. Interesting. This is pretty exciting news because something like this Watchmen series, it feels like it is better suited as a series as opposed to a very, very long, but pretty great movie. The movie was, if you want to talk about direct adaptations,
very direct.
Very direct adaptation. Now, HBO would most likely be any fan's choice as far as who can take this show to air, simply because you can imagine they're not going to hold anything back. And with this type of property, it deserves that kind of production. So hopefully this is their next big hit. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, you loved Lost. Right? Are you looking back now and saying, maybe it's not so good?
No, the final season of Lost was me just like yelling at my TV.
Oh, okay.
But there was a period of time where I loved Lost.
Yeah.
And now Westworld is kind of doing that same cycle of being like, wow, this is awesome, and like, fuck you. It's It's the problem with shows where they willfully withhold information from the viewer. Like I started Castle Rock on Hulu, and I love it so far, but it has the same thing where I'm just like,
it's holding away too much. Yeah, like we have to save cliffhangers for 5 seasons from now.
Yeah. Well, finally, before we get into trailers, when Liam Neeson decided last year that he would be retiring from action movies, we thought, well, all right, you've done a good job, Liam. We support your decision to not create 50 more Taken movies. Well, it turns out you can't just keep an actor who's constantly playing characters who are seeking revenge down, because a new film has just been announced where he is starring in the title role, and the description for the movie is a doozy. Hard Powder is the name of the film, and according to Slash Film, Liam Neeson will be playing the role of Nels Coxman, a local snowplow operator recently named Citizen of the Year of his small Colorado ski town for keeping the roads open through the winter.
We love you!
Nels' quiet life with his wife, Laura Dern, abruptly spins out of control when their son is unjustly murdered by a local drug cartel.
In Colorado, in a snow town?
Oh yeah, Snowtown.
Oh, you're talking about the cocaine.
Yeah. Taking the law into his own hands with only the tools of an outdoorsman and snowplow driver, Nels sets out to find those responsible, but inadvertently ignites a gang war that threatens to engulf the town, unless he ends it first.
Presumably with a giant snowplow.
He's going to run over the main bad guy with the plow.
Yeah. And he's going to say, what's that name again? And the guy's going to go, Mr. Plow.
That name again is
Mr. Plow.
So this is actually a remake of a Norwegian film called In Order of Disappearance, or just In Order of Disappearance. It came out in 2014, and this is going to be directed by the same guy, Hans Petter Moland.
Oh, I'm very excited to direct Mr. Liam Neeson.
Yes. So yeah, sounds interesting to say the least, but now let's get into the actual trailers that you can watch.
Although, Norway, like the only thing we think of in Norway, the accent is like, I can't wait to direct Liam Neeson. Because it's just all black metal up there and death and burning churches.
They're all in black metal bands.
If you've seen Norway on Fox News, it is a hellscape. All the churches are on fire.
It's just Muslim terrorists and black metal terrorists.
Yeah, everywhere.
They're in a race to see who can burn the most churches down.
And you know why everything's burning? No electricity. They use candles. Candlelight for everything. A real hellscape. Luckily, we're getting this man over to America to direct Liam Neeson.
Good for him.
In a Colorado ski town. Anyways, first up in trailers, we've got The Oath. A comedy written, directed, and starring Ike Barinholtz about a government-mandated patriot's oath that all Americans are required to sign by the day after Thanksgiving. When Barinholtz's character and his wife, played by Tiffany Haddish, visit Barinholtz's parents for Thanksgiving, the usual political arguments around the dinner table, of course, get a whole lot more heated in the context of this new loyalty oath. And things go beyond just arguments into straight-up physical violence involving tasers, guns, knives, and cars. It looks like it could be pretty great. It comes out on October 12th, just in time for everyone to see it, and then argue about it over Thanksgiving dinner. If nothing else, today's reality is going to be cranking out great works of fiction based in reality.
It is, yeah.
A lot of stuff's going to be coming out that makes you go, you know what? That could probably happen.
Yeah. The whole dystopian genre is not really dystopian as much.
No, it's just drama
lately. Yeah. Anyway, moving into even weirder territory, there's a new trailer for An Evening with Beverly, Luff, Linn, which looks batshit insane and is directed by the guy who previously made The Greasy Strangler.
Oh no.
It's been described as The Three Stooges meets David Lynch, and it definitely looks weird as hell, but the cast is perfectly suited to something this weird and ridiculous. You got Craig Robinson, Aubrey Plaza, Jermaine Clement, and Emile Hirsch. They're all in it, and the plot seems to revolve around a magician's performance and a spree of robberies or something that revolve around it. A lot of wigs.
It's like Now You See Me?
I don't know.
I'm sure it'd be way better.
Yeah, probably.
One of my least favorite movies of all time.
Anyway, this is also executive produced by David Gordon Green, and it comes out on the same day as David Gordon Green's next directorial effort, Halloween, October 19th.
Well,
so big day for David Gordon Green.
Easy choice for me. I'm going to see Halloween.
Maybe if to go see this as a palate cleanser.
Maybe.
Or see Halloween as this
I'll wait till this comes
cleanser.
out on like VOD. I don't need to see a comedy like this in the theaters. I do need to see Halloween in theaters, though.
Yeah, all right. Did you see? John Carpenter is apparently making the soundtrack for New Halloween. Like he's not directing it or anything, but he's like, no, put me on the keys.
Yeah.
And they released a little sample of it. I'm like, fucking sick.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
I'm very excited for it. Now, speaking of Halloween, the co-writer of that movie is, of course, Danny McBride, and he's got yet another movie coming out real soon called Arizona, which is a dark comedy set in Arizona during the 2009 subprime mortgage crisis. Real fun stuff. Mm-hmm. McBride plays a disgruntled client of a real estate agent who shows up at his office and ends up murdering him. and then kidnaps another real estate agent who witnessed the crime. From there, he makes a series of increasingly bad decisions. Now, Arizona's cast also features Luke Wilson, Caitlin Olsen, and David Alan Grier. Cool. Yeah. And it comes out next week in theaters. Wow, and on VOD, so that's cool.
Yeah, this looks...
How's the reviews?
I don't know. It's probably bad, but I like the concept. It's just Danny McBride being just a real idiot, but this time he's got a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Next up, Gaspar Noé is easily one of the most eccentric filmmakers working today, having previously made stuff like Enter the Void and Irreversible. It's the one where the guy's head gets crushed. Spoiler. Well, that happens in the first scene. Whatever. His new movie, Climax, looks just as deranged and dark as his previous work. It's described as a musical horror, and it centers on a dance troupe who hold a rehearsal at a school out in the middle of nowhere in the winter, and then let loose and party after the rehearsal, except turns out they've all accidentally consumed a shitload of LSD, so things apparently go pretty awry from there. They get violent and weird, and according to early reviews, the soundtrack's fantastic.
That's the one. Soundtrack's great.
But they say
What'd you think about the movie?
They say the movie's really good. It's one of his best works, especially compared with his last movie, Love. I never saw it, but it was basically his attempt at making an art house porn flick with full penetration. Man, we'll see if there's full penetration in this one, but yeah, no U.S. release date for Climax yet, but it'll probably be within the next 6 months or so.
Well, speaking of auteurs, Alfonso Cuarón hasn't released a movie since 2013's Gravity. But he's back with a new movie called Roma that takes place in his native Mexico in the 1970s and centers on a wealthy family and their household staff during a time of political unrest. It's shot in black and white, and it's apparently based pretty closely on Cuarón's own experiences as a child. So not exactly a return to Children of Men, but Cuarón is a talented filmmaker no matter what he's doing. And this is a Netflix film, so you'll see ads for it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's a Netflix film. These days it usually means it's a bit more of a red flag than anything else, but it's clearly an attempt by them to secure some Oscar attention. I feel like they grab a bunch of movies every year and they're like, we just need nominations.
Yeah.
So
just make sure like 2 of them are like actually good.
Yeah.
And make sure the rest have Adam Sandler in them.
Yeah. He's really cranking those things out though. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be doing a limited theatrical release, of course, because of that Oscar. They want the Oscar attention, and that's going to be in major cities. But the movie itself is going to come out in December on Netflix. So
yeah,
there you go.
I mean, he's an incredibly talented filmmaker. So
yeah,
I'll check it out, especially because it's just going to be like,
boop. Hold on, you have to watch an ad for that show where we make cupcakes badly.
Ashton Kutcher is back on the ranch,
but not that one guy.
Not Danny Stewart. Danny the Scientology rapist. He's not in it.
He's not in it anymore.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it for News Dump. Please go check out the latest episode of Idiots Watching Anime, where we watch Food Wars with Raina Scully. Also watch the brand new episode of Weekly Weird News, where turns out lying about having a diploma probably won't do too much to you unless you're running to, if you're trying to get into politics, and then keep lying about it.
Yeah, don't keep digging a hole if you're already in the hole.
Mm-hmm. So check those out. Don't forget to start listening to us on your favorite podcast apps by searching Internet Today or Weekly Weird News, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye-bye.